going to start streaming and make sure we come up on the
I need to
thingamahiggy
make sure
jiggy
I lean
here.
back in the chair, else my head's gonna get cut off. I don't want to die.
All right. We are streaming and
Okay.
I'm going to do. Yep, there we go. Okay. We are rocking.
So we're
Welcome
starting.
to Costa Rica Day
Hello.
3. Hello.
Hi.
Hello, hello.
We're doing this when I'm at school because I want to get through these Costa Rica podcasts so we can talk about other things. And it's an excuse to use my Epic Red microphone. My dad went through like 800 loopholes to get me or something. So
Oh, cool. You are using the new microphone. That's awesome. Yeah, cool.
I think I am.
Yes, you are because I set
Hope
it. I
I
set
am.
your audio settings to
Cool.
use the new
All
converter.
right.
So yes,
Anyway, hello. So today we're going to talk about Costa Rica Day 3, which was
nice.
mostly a travel day. So you think a lot wouldn't happen, but a lot did happen.
Okay.
And as shown by this picture, though, I'll first quickly go over Lake Arenal
Okay.
or Arenal. So if we remember from the Day 1 podcast, I talked about the Arenal volcano.
Hmm.
And so the story here is that I said I was going to talk about the eruption that happened in 68, so now I'm going to talk about that. So in 1968, the Arenal volcano erupted. It created a second peak because the eruption was so violent. And the way it went down to this little valley and destroyed like three villages.
Okay.
But after that, what they did was they made a new village called New Arenal, or I think something like that, up. And then the valley that the houses and villages were in, they turned into Lake Erie now by redirecting rivers.
Oh.
So this 33 square mile wide lake, which is the largest lake in Costa Rica, is man-made because they
Okay.
filled in this valley after the eruption happened. And nowadays, it goes through a hydroelectric dam, which I could have shown a picture of that, but whatever. That no, that's not anyway, not important. So they set up hydroelectric dams, and now 12% of Costa Rica's power is from this lake. And
Okay.
when the water flows out of this lake through the hydroelectric dam, it goes to three of them and then eventually ends up in the Rio Frio, which again is the river we talked about on day 2 for the river tour. So
Okay.
all connected and naturey stuff.
All connected and naturey.
And I didn't really say anything specifically around the lake, but I mean, three of these things were seen around in the Arenal region and two are in Monteverde, which really funny. They are like right next to each other, but because one's in the mountains, like really high in the mountains, and one's in the lowlands, you have to go around the lake. So it's like a 3 hour trip because it's like an hour and a half each way
Right.
around the lake. But yeah, anyway, as I alluded to, the first animal we have, I alluded to in previous podcasts, the first animals we have is the keel-billed toucan. So this is a very pretty bird. I see I have a plush here from Key Lime Cove, which
Nice.
none of you would know this, and I don't want to go on a rant because I will get upset. But it was a water park next to Six Flags in Illinois, and I got like a Build-A-Bear rip-off toucan. So this is a keel-billed toucan. And you can actually see they got the colors pretty close with the beak, which is obviously
Yeah.
the main part, which is why they are also called the rainbow toucan. I I
Nice.
I hope I don't have to explain that anymore,
Yeah.
unless you're colorblind, in which case I'm sorry. Yes, and you can't see this, but or if you're blind, or if you're listening to an audio podcast. Oh,
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you can't see this beak, I'm not talking to you. If you can't see this beak and
you
you're
can
not
go look it up.
colorblind, I really hope you understand why this is the rainbow toucan as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so rainbow toucan, Ramphastos sulphuratus.
Okay.
As I went over with the chestnut mandible toucan, which is slightly larger, by the way. But
Hmm.
anyway, this toucan, they're both in class Avis, order Piciformes, which includes woodpeckers, because woodpeckers and toucans are very closely related. Fun fact. And then family Ramphasidae or Ramphasidae
Okay.
is toucans. Okay. Length 1 foot. That's not important. All right. Length is 1 foot 5 to 1 foot 10, which actually it's about this big, I think.
Yeah, it's probably
This is a
about
little
right.
thicker,
Yeah, that's probably about
obviously,
right.
but it's just roughly it's a little big.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is roughly the toucan size. Also, the
Yeah.
proportions aren't the same. Its feet aren't this big, but yeah.
Doesn't have
Anyway,
Flintstone feet.
those have Flintstone feet. Yeah. Anyway, weight is 13 to 18 ounces, and its wingspan is 7.46 inches to 8.2 inches.
Oh, so its wingspan
So
is shorter than its body length.
yeah.
I just always assumed.
Well, think it's fine because I think the length includes the beak too.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay.
And well,
You're
toucans have
probably
very
right.
big
Yeah.
beaks.
Yeah, you're
So
probably right.
lives in
Yeah.
rainforest, mountains, and rural areas. I saw this one in the rural rainforest area around my hotel, Village
Okay.
Jospec. I think maybe I was going to go more into depth that today. So basically, it was a hotel in the middle of the rainforest. There was like it wasn't like dead alone, like there's other places nearby, but it was in the rainforest. And while you were there, you were basically just surrounded by rainforests. Behind where I was sleeping with the balcony was just like a massive like kind of drop off into more rainforest. There's trees everywhere. And right in the center of like the fork between like the two main drive areas, the parking lot, and then the road to like the further back buildings, was this big cocopia tree, which is called the McDonald's of the rainforest because it has all these little fruits. If you're watching visually, oh yes, if you're watching visually, can you see my mouse, Dad? My mouse cursor, Dad?
No, I don't think we see your mouse cursor.
Okay. Well, okay. So in the top picture, you'll see lots of these little bean thingies, looking things. Those are the cocopia fruit. And I
Okay.
saw these guys eating them. So they
Oh,
eat the
cool.
cocopia fruit. And it's really
Cool.
cool because like what they do is they grab it with their beak. They
Okay.
grab it. And then because they have this giant beak and birds can't swallow like we can, they have to like have it go down. Like they have to use gravity. So they literally
Uh,
like throw their head back with their
that's I
mouth
see a
open and
lot
let it
of
fall
birds
into
do
their
that,
mouth.
kind of knock their heads back. So is that they literally can't like "Ooh," like
Yeah,
we
we
can?
they can't
Yeah.
swallow like that, no.
Yeah. Oh, that's crazy.
I
But
had that on video, but I'm gonna be honest, getting videos into PowerPoints and from my phone to computers is the most annoying thing on the planet.
would
So
that would also explain like when certain birds eat huge fish that like it looks like they're blocking their entire throat, but
yeah,
somehow
like the
they can
cormorants and stuff.
yeah, they can like still breathe. Like we could if we were swallowing a fish that big whole, we'd have to get it down before
Yeah.
we needed another breath.
So also another fun fact is these guys actually flock a little bit more. So I saw four of these guys
Mm,
together at the Cocopia tree. Well,
cool.
I only saw a pair of the yellow-throated toucan or the chestnut mandible toucan, which to be clear, chestnut mandibled is the in that area of Costa Rica is the local subspecies of the yellow-throated toucan. Even though this also has a yellow throat, so that's kind of a bad name, but that's not important.
Okay.
Anyway, so we'll go over, and I brought it with school to me. All the birds of the world. It might be
Nice.
backwards on the camera. I don't know.
No,
Not
it's the right
important.
way. It's the right way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Hey,
oh,
your tech guy
I
took care of
opened to
that.
the next bird by complete coincidence. That's really funny, or almost maybe. I don't know. Anyway, give me a second. I'm gonna Oh, I did. It's that one. Okay. Right? No, no. I don't know. Anyway, um, I'm close then. So let me just um, or maybe it's the other side. Yes, this will have it. Okay. No, next page before. Okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. So here are the two cans
Okay.
up. So right here is the
Mhm.
yellow-throated toucan that we talked about last time. Chestnut
Okay.
mandible also is another name. And
Okay.
then down here is the kill bill toucan.
Okay.
They both live in Central America, though this one's not really into South America. The yellow throated from last time does extend a little bit into like Ecuador and even a bit of I don't remember what country that is. That one.
Okay.
whatever that
Okay.
country that is. Yeah. So, oh, and it also goes a bit into. I also no, that's one of the non-Spanish countries, so I definitely didn't learn that in Spanish class. But anyway, yeah. And then you can see some other toucans here, including the real famous one, the Telco toucan. I bet at some
Okay.
point we'll talk about that on the
The one
podcast. But
everybody
yeah,
would recognize, you're saying?
yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone would probably recognize the keel build, at least to some extent, but everyone would definitely recognize the Telco toucan.
Okay.
It's the big one with the orange beak.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. All right. Anyway, back to stuff. So speaking of woodpeckers,
Yeah.
I also saw a lineated woodpecker, also called a
Nice.
woody woodpecker. I don't know if this is the exact species woody woodpecker is based on, but it's
Hmm.
definitely like
He has the right
very
head.
similar or is the one woody woodpecker is based on. So that's kind
So
of cool.
I had a realization yesterday. So mommy and I were out for a walk and we heard a woodpecker calling, and it's kind of that
Uh-huh.
call.
Yeah.
And I finally realized why that is. It's because when his really long tongue wraps in and wraps around his brain like a tape measure, it's going.
Uh-huh.
See, look at that, explaining the universe through woodworking tools.
And we were talking about that. So it's actually really cool. So yeah, they use their tongue, it wraps around their brain
Yeah.
via the hyoid bone is like the bone that holds it there. So
Hmm.
actually, if you have the skeleton, you'll actually see like there's like a bone that splits and comes back together that goes like around the like from here like back around.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
You
Yeah, so
didn't even
this is
like
the
my fact
lineage.
of how they make that noise with their retracting tongue.
What,
That was
Dad?
it. You didn't even like how I explained the sound
No,
of a
I
retracting
did.
tongue.
No, that's cool. Sorry, I just figured out how to make you louder by turning up the volume. I
Oh,
know.
well, there you go.
Finicky. Anyway, all right. So here is a figure I got in Costa Rica of a linear woodpecker. A little
Nice.
exaggerated, but
Yeah.
I think it's
Yeah.
pretty neat. Also, they have it, so it actually does come off, but
Cool.
like you can put it on this little tree thingy, like a woodpecker.
Cool.
Yeah. Anyway, again, Avis picciformes. We talked about family Piccidae. So interestingly enough, I think the scientific name, the genus, is especially the genus is kind of debated. So as you can see here, I have this is the one I think most people accept, which is Dryocopus lineatus.
Right.
However, I think if we go into my bird book here, um, let's see, is it here? Lineatus. Um, I assume if you want to look right there, or is it somewhere else? Okay, I need to check something real quick on the internet. Just let me. I
Okay.
don't think you'll see this.
Okay. No,
Uh,
we might go ahead.
Actually,
I'll
I
tell
don't
you if
know
we
if I
do.
can go on the internet. Wait, I probably can
Yeah,
just
you
open
can.
another tab. There you go. Okay.
There you go. Yeah, we're
Um.
still seeing the slide, so you're fine.
Okay. I mean, I don't have any secrets, but oh my. So you know that woodpecker you saw in Louisiana, Dad, the big one.
Yeah.
That one's very closely related to this. They're about the same size. Maybe you can tell by looking at it.
Yeah, that one that I saw, the one I saw in Louisiana, is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a close relative of this one.
Yeah, they're like bigger than I thought. They're like, I'm going to say a
Yeah.
foot tall,
I
tailed
mean, this one, yeah, this
tip.
one's a foot to 1 foot two long or tall, however you
Yeah,
want to
I
say it.
guess I always
And
thought
then
of
weighs
woodpeckers as
5.5, 7.5 ounces. Um,
yeah, I guess I always thought of woodpeckers as small. That one surprised me how big he was.
mhm. Okay. Where would you put in this book? Because obviously it's in this book, but like where? Um, here we go. Oh no, no, okay. Because I know there is some debate about whether it's in its own genus or in the genus with like the pileated woodpecker, but I think the general consensus is it's in the genus with the pileated woodpecker. So
Okay.
as you can see here, actually, both the pileated and the lineated are right next to each other. So
Okay.
lineated is the one in the middle. That's the one I'm talking about. That's
Right.
the lineated woodpecker. But the one closest to the crease in this row is
Right.
the pileated woodpecker that you saw, Dad.
Okay. The big
Right.
one.
Yeah, that one. So you can
Yeah.
see that one's in North America. Well, this one's in Central and South America.
Got it.
And then you can see the other relatives are split between South and North America as well. So yeah. But also, yeah, isn't that interesting that like because I think so. Most things seem to say it's in this genus Dryocopus, but um BirdLife International's Handbook of the Birds of the World places it and several relatives in the genus Hylaotomus, which is very interesting. So even the scientific community, there's still debate about certain taxonomics. Isn't that interesting? Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool.
But at the end of the day, it's a woodpecker and he's cool. So there you go.
Cool.
Now, Dad, you'll be very excited for this next slide as we are going to discuss. Well, actually, wait. Should I say mention insectivore woodpeckers? Most woodpeckers do eat insects, and then you can see its habitat mostly places with trees, rainforest, dry forest, mangrove forest, and then yeah, okay, islands, urban, rural. Those are more like areas where also you can find trees. Anyway, the next slide is the murder pig, or as
Woo!
most people would call it, the collared peccary. As you can see, my plush here from Wild Republic. So nice
It's a
little plush
murder
here.
pig.
So also to be, they're not in the same genus as like the pigs you're thinking of, like domestic pigs.
Mhm.
North America has its own genus of pig, like adjacent animals called the Tassauidae, and that includes the peccaries. So
Okay.
technically, they're not like pigs, but they're like con- I should have checked this before. Are they like convergently evolved, or are they like relative relatives? Peccary. Oh my. Okay. Colored peccary. Tassauidae. Oh no, yeah, they're in the same suborder as pigs. So like they're not technically pig, like they're not technically like pigs, but like they're very closely related to pigs. So
So
anyway,
they're not real. They're not as closely related to domesticated pigs as they
yes,
are to
no,
some
see the
other
domesticated
something.
pigs and actual pigs tend to be in the genus sus, like
They're
sus from
very
among us.
sus. Hence, murder
I mean,
pig,
pigs are kind of sus, so that's fair.
especially
Anyway,
murder pigs.
yeah, but the murder pigs are not in the sus genus. They are in the Tassidae genus, but they're both Aerodactyla and class Mammalia.
Okay.
Length 3 foot 3 to 4 foot 11, height 8 inches to 1 foot, weighs 35 to 60 pounds. Diet is a mixed feeder, which okay, so herbivores are usually split into browsers that eat leaves and grazers that eat grass. And then there's other specialties like frugivores eat fruits and so on. But mixed feeders kind of just eat both or anything, which makes
Okay.
sense because pigs tend to be omnivores, if not mixed feeders. So also that's not to say peccary wouldn't eat meat; they just prefer eating plants. So
Okay.
anyway, habitat very widespread across um Central South America and into the American Southwest, which I'll talk about in a second. But
Okay.
they live in savannas, shrublands, hot deserts, rainforests, and then on islands in urban and rural areas. But yeah, so pretty widespread animal. I saw them here in the rainforest. Okay, in this picture, the bottom picture, if you look kind of like near the blue sign and then kind of follow that line of the hill, you
Hmm.
might see a little brown bump, which I believe is a peccary. I did see them, but I didn't react fast enough or like
Right.
process they were peccaries. So like I think legally speaking, I got a photo of peccaries, but like if you want to know what they look like, I would reference this Wikipedia image because
Well, now
I
it's probably
have no
good that you
idea.
didn't get a clear photo of what he was doing because you don't want photographic evidence of the murder pigs because then they will
But yeah.
hunt you down.
Yeah, so we call them murder pigs because so in Arizona, or sorry, the Southwest, they have learned. So people would feed them fruit, but then they realized that because they are more aggressive. I mean, they're not going to just
Right.
randomly come murder you, but like they are
Right.
aggressive. So they basically run a fruit protection racket where they'll come up to people that have fed them before and demand fruit, or they'll get angry. So yeah. Also down there, they're called javelinas in Arizona, and then they have many names across their range. But this is the collared peccary. Also, they're called
They
that
go
because you can
by
see
many names.
they have a collar. I know, very
That's right.
crazy, right?
Yeah. They go by the many
And
names, but you do not
scientific
mess
name
with
is
their fruit.
Dioctylis takiaku. I don't know. I can't pronounce English, so if it's anything a little off from English, we're cooked.
In Latin, when you took Latin, they didn't really make you pronounce it a lot.
Well, no, in Latin you pronounce everything by the actual
Well,
like.
that's true. It's consistent pronunciation, I guess, in
Yeah,
Latin.
but I have a feeling, especially with that like second, it might have some Spanish origins, which
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean would make
Which,
sense because it's
yeah,
from Central and South America.
right.
But did you know this is not the only collared animal we're talking about today?
Oh, okay.
The next animal. Okay, so to be clear, before we talk about it,
Mm,
this was seen as we were leaving Airy now, and then these next two were seen during a night walk up in Monteverde. So I should give some context. So
okay.
Monteverde is in the mountains close by, past the Arenal volcano, and so it's still a rainforest, but it's called a cloud forest because it's up in the mountains. It's usually more damp because there's a lot of fog and clouds, and it's almost always raining. Except
Right.
when I was there, it like barely rained at all. Actually, the whole trip it barely rained at all. I know I bring that up like every time, but it's really weird
Right.
because we were in the
In a
rainforest.
rainforest. Yeah.
I mean, it was the dry season, but like
Yeah.
dry season doesn't mean that dry. So
Yeah.
anyway, but yeah, so up in this cloud forest, the first one of the animals we saw. Oh, I forgot. Okay, we'll do that after. So I'll say consistent. Here we have the collared trogon. This is a male, as also seen by the Wikipedia image and the butt shot here I got in the but and then the image on the bottom is a female. So, kind of sees it's somewhat similar, but duller colors, but still has like a yellow belly.
Mhm.
Um, so trogons are very interesting because they're in their own order. So there's lots of species of trogon, but like they're only trogons. There's not like it's not like woodpeckers and toucans in the same order.
Mm.
They're
Mm.
So trogons are kind of their own thing, and they kind of look unique. I don't know if you can see in the image. I don't know. They just have a unique profile to me.
Mm.
Yeah.
I
Anyway,
guess, yeah, he's got like almost like his black head is like a helmet that can
it's
like it
green.
or
It's
well the
easier to
dark,
see in the
yeah. But I mean it
figure.
kind of
It's a dark green. Yeah.
yeah. Like his head is almost the top third of his body instead of just his little
Yeah.
head like usual,
They
maybe. Is
not a
that
lot of neck.
yeah, yeah.
All right. Class Avis, order Trogonformes, family Trogonidae. Scientific name Trogon coloris. I assume you can figure out what that means. I assume.
He has
I guess
cholera.
actually, no. Its name's it's the collared trogon. Okay. Omnivores again. Omnivores for birds usually mean fruits and insects in the rainforest. Obviously, there's
Mm,
exceptions, but usually fruit and
yeah.
insects.
Yeah.
Um, Rainforest, dry forest, mountains, and tropical carnivorous, which is like they're pretty prevalent in South America. They're carnivorous forests that are more dry and like tropical. For okay, a good example. In all those documentaries where the monarch butterflies go to hibernate in
Mhm.
winter,
Yeah.
that's a tropical carnivorous forest. Usually
Oh.
they're in mountains too. They're usually more
Not
sparse.
carnivorous like meat, carnivorous.
No, coniferous. See, I can't pronounce
Carnivorous.
English, guys. I
Okay,
told you.
carnivorous. That's what was confusing me. So it's carnivorous as opposed to
Yeah,
deciduous?
so the trees
Yes.
don't drop their leaves, which also
Yeah,
they don't really drop them in the rainforest, but still.
so yes, and it's dropped. So here we think of deciduous as leaf trees and
Okay,
coniferous as like pine
okay.
trees.
So evergreen is technically when they don't drop their leaves,
Coniferous. Yeah, yeah.
and coniferous is specifically the needly trees, like pine
Okay.
needles.
Okay, so specifically the needly. So that would be the difference deciduous to coniferous.
Yeah.
Okay. 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 Just clarifying.
And also the Pacific Northwest has a lot of temperate coniferous forest.
Okay.
So, and
Okay.
redwood trees are also an example of like temperate coniferous trees.
Mm. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
tropical is like the tropical version of that, basically.
Okay.
So yeah, this is the Trogon. I'll show it in the book, and then I'll show the peccary in the mammal book. I'm sorry, I forgot
Okay.
about that.
Okay.
But first, let's do the Krogan coloris. Oh, I probably should have figured out where it is in the book first. Great planning ahead, James. You're a genius. Let's,
We are so prepared. Hey, that we're pulling this off remote. This is pretty awesome. And I love this. So if any of you are doing anything like this, check out vdo.ninja.
oh,
It's
okay. Trojan
amazing.
formats 288.
Instead of Zoom,
That's good thing they have their
vdo.ninja.
own order, so I won't be looking through the book for 87 years. Ugh. Yeah, so there's 45 species in
Okay.
8 genuses of Trogon, but
Huh.
they're all in the same order, and there's
Okay.
nothing else in that order. So,
All right. Nice.
um, all right. Oh, and this will give a good example of the female versus male. Okay, so let me just. So my thumb is pointing to the collared trogons,
Okay.
and the one furthest from my thumb is a female. You can see it's like brown with an orange belly.
I was going to say orange. Yeah. Yeah.
And there's different subspecies. So this one is more like brown with a red belly.
Okay.
I'm assuming I saw this one. So I'm assuming I saw the more orange subspecies, as you can see by the images. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would have seen um orange belly morph, while the plush I have is more of the red belly morph. So
Okay.
there's
Okay.
slight color variation, but they're all color
Yeah.
trogons.
They'll call it. Yeah.
And also,
Yeah.
since we're here, I'm not exactly sure which one. It was like one of these. I heard one of these. It has a couple names, and one of them's like the Violicious Trogon. Um, it might be this one. I think it was also called the Greenback Trogon.
Okay.
Yeah, because it is. So I think I also heard one of these. But you
Nice.
can see they're all pretty similar
Yeah. Just color
overall.
variations for the most part. Color variations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And because I forgot about this, before we go on to the last thing, I will show the collared peccaries in the book.
Okay.
I opened directly to it. By complete coincidence. Let's go.
Nice.
I'm a professional. All right.
Yeah,
So
we
there's
are
three
so prepared.
peccaries. The one closest to the binding is the species we went over in the Living Fossils podcast, by the way.
Okay. Okay.
Like a Cohen peccary.
Okay.
The collared peccary is the one I saw, and the most famous one, the most widespread one. And then the last one closest to me is actually
Yeah.
the white lip peccary, which can be seen in Costa Rica, but it's very rare.
Hmm.
Unlike the other, it's actually vulnerable. So yeah, but these are the three species of peccary.
Nice.
They all have their own genus, but they're all in the same family Testudae, which is in the same suborder as the rest of the pigs.
Okay.
So, but all the actual pigs are in the order Suna. Sus, sorry, not Suna, Sus. I have no idea
Oh,
where
and
Suna came.
is that like when they call pigs and they go sue? Is that like sus sue? Is that related to that?
I maybe.
I don't know.
Oh, okay. There are a couple other genuses,
Okay.
but overall, so there are a few other genuses. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, Sus contains most of the piggish pigs. Like warthogs are in a different genus, and Babirusa are, and stuff like that. But yeah, so
Okay.
now this last one, I have I have a lot of context for this one. So first of all, we're talking about the side striped palm pit viper, Bortherichthys lateralis. I would like to thank
Okay.
Allie for helping me get this because I was not smart and left my wallet in the car when there was a gift shop at the bus. So unfortunately, she bought it for me, and
Thank
then I
you,
paid her
Allie.
back. Yeah, thank you,
Allie
Allie. So
and
yeah, I got this side striped palm pit viper.
nice.
Very cool snake. And I
I
saw
think I
it.
met who did I met? I met Allie and
No, you met someone
Buster
else.
Keaton. Oh, I met someone else and Buster Keaton.
Allie was the one at the dining hall.
Oh, the one that said hi at the dining hall. Okay,
Yeah.
and Buster
Okay.
Keaton and
Anyway,
somebody else were outside. Anyway, that's all.
let's stop doxing people and talk about the animals, Dad.
I don't know their last names. His last name's not Keaton. No, his but he's not. Anyway,
All right. So this is Sideswipe Palm Pit Viper. Class Reptilia, Order Squamata, family Viperidae. It's actually in the same genus as the eyelash viper we talked about in the first Costa Rica podcast, so very
right,
closely related. This
right.
one's green though. When they're young, they actually are more brown, and then
Oh,
over time they grow into the green with the white stripe on the side, as seen by the final image.
so the brown
Oh, I
probably.
put down the wrong spot. That image, that tag up there should be for this picture down here. Sorry, this
So the
picture's mine. I took.
okay, the
The
one with
top
all the
one is
grass
mine.
in it. Yeah, the top
The
one. Yeah,
top one
yeah,
is mine. The bottom
yeah,
one is by Patrick Gibson. Right? I
yeah,
didn't. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Okay,
That's fine.
just to make that clear. Anyway,
So they tend to be brown, I assume, because they're hiding amongst leaves and branches, and then when they grow up,
yeah.
they're
But
more
then as
hiding
they
in
grow, they
leaves.
become green. I think also because they move up further into the canopy, probably
Yeah,
to
so they're in the
catch
leaves.
small
Yeah,
animals and birds and stuff. So
so better camouflage. Yeah,
yeah.
cool,
But then
nice.
also, so when I talk about the eyelash viper, I talked about how baby snakes can't control their venom.
Okay,
This is
right.
actually a myth that has been disproven. I
Oh,
apologize for giving you false information.
okay,
I was
all
not
right, all
aware
right.
of this.
Okay,
Multiple people during my Costa Rica trip taught me, like the educators taught me this. So I
right.
kind of assumed it was true.
Yeah, yeah.
It is just outdated. I think it's only been outdated for like 4 years. I think it is a relatively recent discovery.
Oh,
Like
right. Yeah,
they actually
yeah.
did testing with the baby snakes, and they're like, yeah, no, they can control their venom.
Okay.
You
So
know.
you can forgive
So
your guides for, I mean, if this is kind
yeah,
of new
it's and,
experiences,
like,
it's
there was a
nothing. Yeah,
couple things, like, certain places, like, maybe the
yeah.
factual thing, it wasn't that bad, just it's just a good lesson that you should always be ready to learn more because,
Well, and
you
it,
know,
maybe it could have grown from the fact that if it's a baby snake and it panics, maybe it would bite you multiple times.
or inject all its venom more, like, just instinctually or something
Yeah,
like
just
that, yeah.
panicking or something. Yeah, that, I
Mhm.
mean, yeah, but not that it
Yeah,
couldn't
because I know
control
it's
it,
a myth
just it would,
specifically
yeah.
from baby rattlesnakes, and I think it's
Yeah.
spread throughout all the venomous snakes.
Here's the best advice. Don't get bitten.
I mean, you can see we were, like, feet away from this baby snake on this branch, but it didn't move and we didn't bother it.
Yeah, it
As
doesn't
long
want
as
to
you don't
bother you.
bother it,
Yeah.
especially with rattlesnakes, most bites are from someone stepping on it. So just
Yeah.
be aware of your surroundings,
And wear thick
and
shoes.
give animals their space, and they'll give you the even the peccaries. Also,
Yeah.
don't feed them because then they're like, "Oh, you'll give me food," and then when you don't, they get mad.
Yeah.
So
Me too.
just
Mommy
leave
takes away
animals
my
alone.
cookies. I have a
Okay.
bad day.
Yeah, but anyway, small snake, 2'7" to 3'3". That baby was obviously much smaller than that. I think that baby was no
Yeah.
more than a foot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, weight is 1.76 to 7.05 ounces and lives in rainforest and mountains, which makes sense because I saw it in a mountain rainforest. I know,
Okay.
crazy.
Yeah. Yeah,
And yeah,
crazy.
so I will talk about this a little bit
Crazy.
more before we get
Okay.
off
Okay.
because I don't have much else to talk about. Um,
Okay.
yeah, so but I will like to discuss the Cloud Forest in Monteverde region, specifically the Night Walk. So there's
Okay.
this cool thing they do in Monteverde where lots of places like like forest reserves will have guides take you on night walks. So
Yeah.
they know the trails, they know how to deal with all the animals, how to avoid them. And they also will like kind of go out and they know like snakes don't move as much sometimes, so they kind of know where to find animals.
Okay.
So like we went out and we saw lots of cool things. Those collared trogons we saw were actually sleeping, and we saw
Okay.
some brown jays sleeping, which I'll talk about in my post, my
Right.
next piece I'm gonna do, which is very cool because I've never seen birds sleep before.
Yeah.
We saw a sloth that was a two-toed sloth, which was very active because it's nighttime. They are more nocturnal.
Okay.
Um, I also saw like some scorpions and spiders, and just lots of things were out and about. We even saw an armadillo. I did not see the armadillo. I wish I saw the armadillo, but I saw the trogons, which for me I think was cooler personally. But
Okay.
yeah. Also, I forgot Book of Snakes again. We talked about this. Um, let's see if I can find the side stripe Poem Pit Viper real quick. Dad, do you have any questions about today's podcast?
Um, no, I think I learned a couple of things. that were kind of interesting. I didn't realize that murder pigs weren't so close. I just assumed they were feral, you know, pigs.
Oh no, no, they're not that closely related to our pigs at all.
Yeah, so very distant from there. The and I just assumed a lot of the different color variety was just color variety. I didn't realize there were so many species of that bird.
No, this snake
Like
is in this book. Oh, that's great.
um,
Okay, this the species of snake I have is in this book. So,
is not in the
all right,
book
sorry
of
about
all
that.
snakes ever in the world.
Yeah, okay, it's to 600 species around the world, but I
Oh, okay, 600
okay,
species. Okay, okay.
fine. Let's I can show the relatives because they're
And
very similar. They're in the same
and I think
genus.
another interesting thing is that research and knowledge is always expanding. I mean,
Yeah. So here's
oh,
the
there's the
eyelash viper we
eyelash.
talked about last time.
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
yes, this one, and then
yeah,
here's another green species. So
yeah,
most are actually green. It's
yeah.
the yellow ones are
That would
actually
make
quite unique.
sense.
I think there's only a
Yeah,
couple genuses that tend to be yellow.
yeah,
I mean species in the genus, but yeah.
right.
And you can see Central and South America. Actually, a little more focus in Central America for these snakes.
And
So
I also thought it was kind of interesting how I always thought that when you saw like a cartoon of a toucan or something, that
yeah.
the beak was exaggerated, but it really isn't. The beaks are
No, the beaks are that
enormous.
big.
The beaks are
Another
enormous.
reason is
Yeah,
they're actually really good heat thing. Like
dissipation to dissipate.
yeah, and
Yeah,
yeah.
because they
So
can't sweat.
yes, birds can't sweat. So
Right,
one of the
right.
ways that so like at night, if you take a thermal camel, this will be overall relatively cool, but the beak will be like glowing,
It's like
like
with dogs.
glowing.
That's why dogs pant because they
Yeah,
don't breathe. They don't sweat through their skin.
birds
Yeah,
can also kind of pant. I know some species, especially like herons and stuff, do this thing called guttural flapping, where I think they actually like use that hyoid bone and like
yeah,
almost like it looks like their throat is panting, but like not the rest of their body almost.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah.
That's cool.
Also, here's
That's very cool.
a random shot from the hotel that I accidentally sent with the other pictures, and I'm
Oh
like,
wait, let me shrink you back down. I had made you
I'll
big
put it
here.
in. Oh, sorry, but yeah,
Hang
it's
on.
I don't know. They have some cool. There's a lot of cool murals in Costa Rica. I will say they have
Oh
some
here,
very
yeah, I see
talented
it.
artists out
I
there.
see. Yeah, the two
Ignore the
little
baby
chairs,
chairs.
the
I
little
was
baby.
taking pictures of the murals, but just so you know, this hotel, if you go there, they have baby seats.
They have baby seats, so if you're little like me, you'll have somewhere to sit.
I mean, I enjoyed seeing the animals at that hotel, but if you really want a
Yeah,
baby seat, they have baby seats at Village Jospec. Yeah,
maybe
so
the thing I noticed the most, I mean, other than the variety of animals, is that there was there was like there was never a moment you didn't enjoy on this trip, from what I can tell.
no.
I mean,
Hmm.
really, it's a worth if you're into this biology, zoology, this is a very worthwhile trip to
I
take.
think the lowest point, which is by no stretch a low point, was
Yeah.
probably like the zip lining because
Oh
I
yeah.
decided to get
Well,
out of it because I
yeah.
was just not in it.
And
I
that's
did
just
hear
yeah.
one new bird, which I'll talk about in a maybe I might talk about it in a post. I don't know. We'll
Right.
see. But it was just a nice relaxed time actually. But yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
also walking up from that waterfall, that was an adventure. Yeah.
Very cool. All right. Well, very
Yeah.
exciting. Thanks for doing this
Well, I
podcast
hope
with
you
me, even
guys
though you're at
enjoyed.
school.
And next time we'll talk about a little bit more of Monteverde. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of I like to base the podcast with animal figures and the book, so I have like something to show and talk about.
Right.
And it's an excuse for me to buy animal toys.
Right.
Um, but so we'll talk about one animal from Monteverde, and then we'll move on to the Pacific Coast.
Right.
So a lot of this stuff was also more on like the Caribbean side or like in the
Okay.
mountains.
Okay.
So
Okay.
after this, we'll move to the Pacific side, which is a lot drier. So like
Oh, okay.
the Caribbean side's more like rainforest, but the Pacific side's more like the dry forest and stuff. So
Nice. Okay.
yeah,
So we should see a lot of
it'll be
different
very
stuff over there.
interesting.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
And yes, Dad, the bird that I want you to bring is for the next podcast.
For the
So
next podcast, I will have a little bird here
yeah,
in
it's
just a
very fragile, but it's a very cool
yeah.
figure. So we Dad's gonna keep it at the studio slash home.
Yeah.
So I didn't drag it
Yeah.
all the way out here and then it break and then we all scream. But yeah.
All right. Totally cool.
All right.
All right.
Thanks for listening, watching.
Thanks,
There's
everyone.
other pleasantries, but those are cringe, so I'm not going to say them.
All right. Pino's out. Okay.
You done with
Yeah.
it?
Yep. 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 Yep.
Right.